Chapter 20, Do Not Flaunt. The car keys fell onto the table with a crisp sound, the trident emblem flashing brilliantly, almost blinding. Xiao Pengfei was about to mock Xiao Chen's absurd claims, but when his eyes landed on the trident, he swallowed his words. Maserati? Xiao Chen watched Xiao Pengfei's face turn purple, sneering internally. You wanted to show off and make me look poor to highlight your wealth, didn't you? Well, do you think you're the only one with car keys? Feeling foolish now, aren't you? I've seen this logo before. What was it called? Maserati? Mrs. Tong exclaimed in surprise. Although she couldn't immediately recall the name, she knew it was a luxury car, worth over $1 million. Mom, it's Maserati, Tong Yen interjected, her expression somewhat odd. Others might not know, but she did. This car didn't belong to Xiao Chen, it was Mr. Su's. Yes, Maserati, this car costs over $1 million, right? It's around $2 million, Tong Yen added. Though she wasn't well-versed in cars, she'd heard her colleagues mention that Mrs. car, the highest configuration in the President's series, was nearly $3 million. Now this is a true luxury car. Mrs. Tong remarked instinctively. Hearing this, Xiao Pengfei felt a burning sensation on his face, especially recalling his earlier comments about dreams and aspirations. Nonsense. The man already had a Trident logo. Who needs dreams when you can buy multiple BMWs with a Maserati? Ha, what's the big deal about a luxury car? It's just a means of transportation, Xiao Chen said nonchalantly. Xiao Pengfei's mouth twitched. Damn, this guy was a master at showing off. 2 million yuan for a mere mode of transport? Indeed, upon hearing this, Mrs. Tong's eyes lit up, and her attitude made a complete 180-degree turn, her face beaming with a sycophantic smile. Yes, to wealthy people like you, a few million is nothing. Tong Yen felt quite embarrassed watching her mother's servile behavior. It was utterly disgraceful. Auntie, I'm not that rich. In Longhai, driving a car worth a few million with a net worth of tens of millions is just enough to scrape by, Xiao Chen said, glancing at Xiao Pengfei, implying that his family was merely scraping by as well. What's the point of showing off? Minister Xiao, no, that sounds too formal. Since you're good friends and colleagues with Yen, how about I call you Xiao? Mrs. Tong became even more enthusiastic, pouring tea for Xiao Chen. Here, have some tea. Thank you, Auntie. No need to thank me. Let me tell you, all these years, Yen has never brought a man home. Noticing Xiao Pengfei's increasingly darkening face, Mrs. Tong felt a rare twinge of embarrassment. Pengfei, why don't you have some tea too? Auntie, don't be fooled. Nowadays, many people buy fake luxury car keys from Taobao to show off, Xiao Pengfei said coldly. Fake? Mrs. Tong's face changed, looking back at Xiao Chen. His appearance didn't seem like that of a wealthy person. Ha ha. Xiao Chen chuckled, glanced at his watch, and stood up. Auntie, I have some matters to attend to. I'll visit another day. Leaving already? Let me see you off. Mrs. Tong stood up too, more eager to see the car than to send him off. If the Maserati was real, she would seriously consider who her daughter should marry. Naturally, in her eyes, it was about who had more money. I have something to attend to as well. I should get going. Xiao Pengfei stood up, eager to verify if the car truly belonged to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen understood their intentions but didn't expose them. He walked outside. As they reached the doorway, Mrs. Tong's face blossomed like a chrysanthemum upon seeing the Maserati parked outside. Truly a wealthy individual. Xiao Pengfei's face darkened, realizing the damn guy really had a Maserati, and it was the top-of-the-line President series. Auntie, Tong Yen, I'll be off now, let's discuss dreams another time, Xiao Chen said. Alright, Xiao, you must visit Auntie often. Mrs. Tong's doubts vanished, and she found Xiao Chen increasingly pleasing to the eye. Yes, I will. Xiao Chen nodded to Tong Yen, got into the car, and drove off slowly. A luxury car worth millions, I've never ridden in one. Next time, I must experience it. No, I must be able to ride it whenever I want. You need to act fast. Mrs. Tong said to Tong Yen, watching the car drive away. What do you mean, act fast? Tong Yen was puzzled. Get him while he's hot. Have you two kissed? Slept together? Mom, what are you saying? I told you, we're just colleagues. Really? Of course. Then make sure you turn your ordinary colleague relationship into an extraordinary cohabitation. Tong Yen was bewildered. What was her mother even talking about? Nearby, Xiao Pengfei's face turned ashen, feeling like he was wearing a green hat. Enough. Am I invisible? Mrs. Tong turned to him. What's wrong? Xiao Pengfei was furious, glaring at her. What happened to wanting Tong Yen to be with me? Well, I did think that at first, but now I see Xiao is a better match for my daughter. What makes you think they're a better match? Because Xiao has more money. Mrs. Tong replied with confidence. Xiao Pengfei almost passed out from anger. Just because of a Maserati? Look, Xiao, forced love is never sweet. My daughter and Xiao have a connection. I must respect her choice, right? Unable to stand it any longer, Xiao Pengfei stormed off, his face darkening further. This woman was shameless. Humph, he snorted, getting into his BMW and speeding away. Ugh, what a person. Driving a shabby BMW and dreaming of my daughter? So full of himself. Mrs. Tong spat at the departing car, then turned to Tong Yen. Come, tell me about Xiao. How much money does his family have? At the entrance of No. 1 high school, Su Xiaoming was playing on her phone, looking around impatiently. Damn it, why isn't he here yet? Suddenly, the roar of engines drew near, and several luxury cars stopped in front of her. A blue BMW M5 lowered its window, revealing a face. Xiaoming, want to hang out tonight? Get lost, I'm busy. Su Xiaoming glanced at the M5, frowning. Busy? Huh, going home to be a good girl, the young man in the M5 sneered. Be your sister's good girl. I just don't want to waste time with you. Xiaoming, remember, I'm your boyfriend now. Bullshit, who said that? Oh? Trying to deny it? If word gets out that Su Xiaoming doesn't keep her word, how will you survive in school? You? Su Xiaoming's face changed, at a loss for words, when a sleek shadow approached and stopped in front of her. A voice full of apology spoke. Xiaoming, sorry I'm late. Chapter 21, Boyfriend? Hearing the voice, Su Xiaoming's eyes lit up. This bastard finally showed up. However, thinking about the current situation, she felt a headache. How could she get out of this? Xiaoming, I got held up with something, so I'm late. Get in the car. Xiao Chen stuck his head out, apologetically looking at Su Xiaoming. Xiaoming, who is this guy? The door of the BMW M5 opened, and a young man with short silver hair stepped out, looking at Xiao Chen with disdain. Su Xiaoming's eyes twinkled mischievously as she curled her lips into a sly smile. Him? He's my boyfriend. Boyfriend? These 3 words not only stunned the silver-haired youth but also left Xiao Chen, who was in the car, bewildered. What the hell? Darling, you finally came. I've been waiting for you forever. Su Xiaoming's pretty face took on a coquettish charm, enticingly catching the silver-haired youth's gaze. Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaoming, then at the increasingly grim-faced silver-haired youth, understanding the situation. He had been made a shield. Xiaoming, is he really your boyfriend? The silver-haired youth pointed at Xiao Chen, his tone icy. Of course. Su Xiaoming nodded, looking at Xiao Chen and winking. Darling, let me introduce you. This is my classmate, In He. Before Su Xiaoming could finish, Xiao Chen stepped out of the car, smiling and extending his right hand. Hello, I'm Xiaoming's boyfriend, Xiao Chen. Seeing Xiao Chen's quick response, Su Xiaoming's smile widened. This guy was quick on the uptake. But just you wait, there will be payback. As expected, In He's face darkened. Ignoring Xiao Chen's outstretched hand, he coldly asked, Do you know who I am? Aren't you Xiaoming's classmate? Xiao Chen calmly withdrew his hand, his smile unwavering. I'm also her boyfriend. In He declared. Immediately, the doors of the other luxury cars opened, and several young men, their faces full of youth yet brimming with menace, stepped out. In He, stop spouting nonsense. Who's your girlfriend? If you say that again, my boyfriend will get angry. And trust me, he has a temper. Su Xiaoming fanned the flames, enjoying the unfolding drama. Enough, Su Xiaoming. Do you think I'm a fool? Do you think bringing some random guy will get rid of me? He sneered, pointing at Xiao Chen. Kid, I'm warning you. Leave before you regret it. Huh, so you're saying I'm just a fake boyfriend, a shield Xiaoming found? Xiao Chen asked, still smiling. Isn't that obvious? He retorted coldly. Just as Su Xiaoming was contemplating how to further stir the pot, Xiao Chen grabbed her hand and pulled her into his arms. With a playful look, he said, if we weren't a couple, would I dare to hold her like this? Su Xiaoming was stunned. Damn, this guy was taking advantage of the situation. Let go of Su Xiaoming. He exploded before Su Xiaoming could. The surrounding youths were also furious. Swearing, they grabbed baseball bats from their cars and encircled Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen looked around and shook his head, asking the girl in his arms, are these really your classmates? Su Xiaoming wanted to explode, but seeing the situation, she swallowed her anger, replying sweetly, yes, why? Are you scared? If you are, I'll look down on you. Afraid of a few students? But I'm curious, why does he say you're his girlfriend? Su Xiaoming hesitated, then explained, I raced against He a while ago. We agreed that if I lost, I'd be his girlfriend. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes. Was this girl dumb enough to gamble with herself? Kid, you heard that? She lost, so she's my girl. Stay away from her, or my buddies won't be nice. He threatened, tilting his head. The other youths tightened their grip on their bats, their faces displaying a mix of viciousness and excitement. It had been a while since they beat someone up. Today, at the school gate, in front of all the students, they'd teach this nobody a lesson and flaunt their power. Xiao Chen, observing their postures, shook his head again. These weren't high school students, they were street thugs. But he had no interest in stooping to the level of these spoiled brats. Just a car race, right? He, dare to race again? Race? Just because you ask, I should agree? Why? Xiao Chen smiled, nodding toward He. He, you want Xiaoming to be your girlfriend? If I lose, I'll walk away. How's that? Hearing this, Su Xiaoming panicked. She had hoped to spark conflict between Xiao Chen and He, preferably a fight. It didn't matter who won as long as someone got hurt, ideally Xiao Chen. But now, Xiao Chen was proposing another race? What if he lost? Would she really have to become He's girlfriend? He glanced at Su Xiaoming and then Xiao Chen. Alright, I'll race you. But I have an additional condition. What? If you lose, besides Xiaoming becoming mine, I want your arm. He demanded coldly. Deal. To He's surprise, Xiao Chen agreed without hesitation. Hey, what are you doing? Betting on me without my permission. Su Xiaoming whispered angrily. Don't you want to solve this problem once and for all? If you do, trust me. Xiao Chen asked. Su Xiaoming bit her lip, looking at He and his group. If Xiao Chen could truly solve this, it would be good. But what if he lost? If I lose, you must never bother Xiaoming again. Deal? Xiao Chen proposed. Deal. He agreed readily. How and where do you want to race? Your call. Let's race at the Nine Dragons Loop. Are you driving that Maserati? Yes, I'll drive this one. Fine. No backing out. If you lose, leave as far as possible. Enough talk, lead the way. Xiao Chen finished, giving Su Xiaoming a playful pat on the rear. Get in the car, darling. Chapter 22, A Kiss? In the passenger seat, Su Xiaoming glared at Xiao Chen, her eyes ablaze with anger. How dare you take advantage of me? Xiao Chen, somewhat surprised, asked, how did I take advantage of you? You hugged me and even touched my butt. Oh, that? How is that taking advantage? It's not like I haven't done it before. Xiao Chen replied nonchalantly. What did you say? Su Xiaoming exploded in fury, her fist swinging towards Xiao Chen. You pervert, I'll fight you. Calm down, I'm driving. Xiao Chen dodged her punch, a grin tugging at his lips as he remembered the feel of her soft, resilient butt. Besides, I was just playing along with you. Spare me your noble excuses to cover up your shameless behavior. Su Xiaoming retorted, pouting. If I didn't do that, the guy behind us wouldn't believe we're a couple. Why didn't you just kiss me then? That would be even more convincing. Su Xiaoming said irritably. Xiao Chen almost slapped his thigh in regret. If I'd known you were this open-minded, I would have kissed you earlier. Get lost. Su Xiaoming fumed, nearly ready to grab the steering wheel and crash the car with this scoundrel. Feeling the icy rage emanating from Su Xiaoming, Xiao Chen shivered and decided to stop teasing her. He didn't want to risk a deadly crash. After a brief silence, Xiao Chen glanced at the BMW M5 leading the way and asked, Xiaoming, what's the deal with this Inhe? Does he like you? Maybe, but I have no feelings for him. There's no way I'd be his girlfriend. By the way, how's your driving? Can you beat Inhe? His cousin is one of the underground racing gods in Longhai City, and he's practically trained by him. Xiao Chen was speechless and turned to look at Su Xiaoming. You know he's half trained by a racing god, and you still want to race him? Are you out of your mind? You're the one who's out of your mind. Su Xiaoming rolled her eyes. My driving skills aren't bad either, okay? I'm ranked at the top at City No One High. Alright then. Cut the crap, how good are you? Can you beat him? Don't worry. Not only will I beat him, but I'd also thrash his racing god cousin. Xiao Chen boasted arrogantly. Su Xiaoming pursed her lips. You just can't stop bragging, can you? Ha! Xiao Chen chuckled, saying nothing more. An underground racing god's half-disciple? Ha! About half an hour later, several cars arrived at Jiulongpan, one of the 3 underground racing sanctuaries in Longhai City. Since it was still early, there weren't many people around. Kid, how many laps shall we run? He got out of his car and pointed at Jiulongpan. It's my first time here. Any specific rules? Jiulongpan is treacherous, each lap is a different challenge. Regular racers usually run 9 laps. Do you dare? Xiao Chen glanced at the not-so-high mountain in the distance and nodded. Let's do 9 laps then. Alright, race to the top, flash your lights, and then come back down. Whoever gets back first wins. Agreed. Let's begin. He sneered. Kid, don't cry later. Xiaoming, get in the car. Xiao Chen couldn't be bothered to say more. If it weren't for helping Su Xiaoming out of a bind, he wouldn't have come. To him, this was just playing with kids. Su Xiaoming nodded and got into the Maserati. At this point, she still fervently hoped Xiao Chen would win. He watched Su Xiaoming's back, his eyes narrowing. If he lost this time, how would he face her again? A few minutes later, the 2 cars lined up at the starting line, making final preparations. Can you really beat him? Want to make a bet? If I win and solve your problem, you owe me a favor. What kind of favor? Su Xiaoming eyed Xiao Chen warily, suspecting he was up to no good. Nothing much, just call me Brother Chen from now on. How about it? Fine, if you win, I'll call you Brother Chen. Su Xiaoming thought it over and agreed it wouldn't hurt to call him that if he won. Xiao Chen smiled, glanced at the BMW M5 beside them, and signaled that he was ready. Start. A young man dropped his raised hand sharply, and both cars shot off the starting line almost simultaneously. The BMW M5 roared, and he quickly shifted gears, sharply turning the wheel to seize the lead position. Hurry up! Su Xiaoming shouted, seeing the M5 pulling ahead. Why rush? Let him have his moment of glory. Xiao Chen's expression was relaxed. As they say, amateurs watch the show, professionals watch the technique. From the start, he could gauge Inhe's level, an amateur among professionals. As Xiao Chen spoke, the BMW M5 took the lead, pulling a car length ahead of the Maserati. Racing me in a Maserati? I'll destroy you. Inhe sneered, glancing at the Maserati through the rearview mirror. He slightly eased off the gas as he rounded the first bend. As Inhe rounded the bend, the Maserati suddenly accelerated, executing a flawless drift around the corner without any hesitation. In the next moment, the Maserati's speed surged, beginning to overtake the BMW M5 from the outside lane. Damn it! Inhe cursed, stepping harder on the gas. Had this bastard never run Jiulongpan before? Vroom. Just as the BMW M5 picked up speed, the second bend approached. Inhe had to slow down again, but to his chagrin, the Maserati didn't decelerate at all. It took the corner at an even higher speed, pulling ahead. In the Maserati, Su Xiaoming's face turned pale. She had run Zhuolongpan many times, but never at such high speeds. While she felt nothing at the first bend, by the second, she thought Xiao Chen must be insane. As they approached the third bend, Xiao Chen accelerated even more, putting 3 car lengths between them and the BMW M5. Slow down. Su Xiaoming cried, gripping the handle tightly, her eyes fixed on the rock wall ahead. Beside them lay a ravine, falling into it would mean certain death. Hold on tight. Xiao Chen didn't slow down. Despite finding the race childish, the engine's roar stirred his blood. Damn it! You son of a bitch! In the M5, he watched the Maserati disappear around the fourth bend and cursed. This guy definitely wasn't a first-timer at Zhuolongpan. Chapter 23, Astonishment. After cursing in frustration, he looked at the treacherous fourth curve ahead and reluctantly hit the brakes. Though he wanted to emulate Xiao Chen's fearless high-speed drift, he didn't have the guts. This wasn't a video game where you could restart after dying. Real life offered no such reprieve. Though he enjoyed racing and the thrill it brought, he had no desire to court death. Life was too precious to be so reckless. His brief lapse in concentration almost sent his car crashing into the curve, drenching him in cold sweat. By the time he navigated the bend and looked ahead, the Maserati had already disappeared from sight. At the foot of the mountain, a few young men who had been lounging against their luxury cars now stood tense and wide-eyed, staring at the black blur speeding up Zhuolongpan. This shadow, like a black lightning bolt, moved at an astonishing speed. Damn, this guy is an expert. No kidding. He wouldn't have challenged old Ian if he wasn't. We got played. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. I swear he's faster than Ian, his cousin. Did anyone time him? Could he be breaking records? Ian, he is toast. I wonder how he's feeling right now. After their initial shock, the young men erupted into a flurry of discussions, mixing awe, anger, and schadenfreude. Inside the Maserati, Su Xiaoming's face was pale, but compared to her earlier fear, she seemed to have grown accustomed to the speed, her eyes even showing a hint of excitement. Was this the thrill of extreme speed? The powerful acceleration made her feel like she was flying, especially through the hair-raising curves, which brought an unusual rush. Xiao Chen glanced at Su Xiaoming with his peripheral vision, feeling a bit exasperated. Was this girl treating this as an amusement park ride? Did she have to wear her excitement so blatantly? He had intended to scare Su Xiaoming a bit, to dissuade her from racing in the future, considering how dangerous it was. But now it seemed his plan had backfired. Damn, let's up the ante. Xiao Chen muttered to himself, flooring the gas pedal. The speedometer needle swung toward the maximum speed. Ah! Su Xiaoming screamed as the rock wall ahead loomed closer, her body tensing and pressing tightly against the seat. They were going to crash. Just as the Maserati was about to collide with the rock wall, Xiao Chen swiftly hit the brakes. The car shuddered violently before slipping through the ninth curve at an uncanny angle, the rear barely missing the wall by 5 centimeters. Phew! Even Xiao Chen let out a breath of relief. This was his first time driving Zhuolongpan, relying entirely on his keen observation and judgment. A slight miscalculation could have ended in a deadly crash. Su Xiaoming, meanwhile, was paralyzed with fear in her seat, gasping for air. She had felt death's cold touch just moments ago, almost bidding farewell to this beautiful world and her dear sister. By the time Su Xiaoming recovered, the Maserati had already reached the summit of Zhuolongpan. Xiao Chen flashed the high beams and then began descending. You were insane just now. Su Xiaoming, clutching her weakened fists, glared at Xiao Chen. Scared? Xiao Chen chuckled, pleased to have unsettled her. Just as Su Xiaoming was about to retort, his BMW M5 approached through the windshield. She could see his darkened face, which lifted her spirits. As the two cars passed each other, she rolled down the window, stuck out her fair hand, and flashed a middle finger at he, her expression taunting. The screech of brakes followed as the BMW M5 stopped. He, glaring at the receding Maserati, cursed silently. Defeated, he turned his car around and headed down. Continuing up was pointless now. The two cars descended the mountain, and the young men gathered around them. You lost. Su Xiaoming got out of the car, her tone smug as she addressed he. I admit defeat. Our previous bet is nullified. Though unwilling, he grit his teeth and conceded. Remember, you promised not to bother me again. Is it wrong to like someone? You didn't stick to our previous agreement either. Su Xiaoming opened her mouth but couldn't find a retort. She hadn't exactly played fair before. Liking someone isn't wrong, but don't overstep. She has a boyfriend, Xiaochen said, stepping out of the car. What did you say? One of the young men, wielding a thick iron rod, shouted at Xiaochen. Xiaochen frowned, snatched the rod, and before anyone could react, bent it with his bare hands. This feat left the young men gaping, their curses stifled, their steps frozen. My girlfriend mentioned my bad temper. I don't want to get rough with you kids, but don't push it. Or else, Xiaochen twisted the rod further, contorting it into a loop. This is your warning. He and his friends were stunned. How strong was this guy to bend an iron rod like that? Xiaoming, get in the car, we're leaving. Xiaochen tossed the rod aside and returned to the car. Okay. For once, Su Xiaoming didn't argue. She nodded and got in. Watching the Maserati disappear, the young men finally snapped out of their daze, their gazes drifting to the twisted rod, cold sweat breaking out. Is that guy even human? One muttered. It's not that impressive. My family's bodyguards can do it too. He, feeling humiliated, couldn't believe he'd been intimidated by Xiaochen. But he was also relieved they hadn't fought. Clearly, they were no match. What now, He? Giving up on Su Xiaoming? A tall, skinny youth asked. Give up? If I want something, I get it. He narrowed his eyes. I will have Su Xiaoming. He, don't be reckless. Su Xiaoming isn't easy to handle. The Su family's reputation isn't just for show. The Su family? She's just a woman. Any woman can be subdued. He sneered. Oldly, get your brother to investigate this guy. Anyone who dares take my girl will pay. Got it. He, I have an idea. Want to hear it? What? Drug her. She'll be begging for you. Are you crazy? The Su family will retaliate hard if we drug her, another youth cautioned. Retaliate? She's just a schoolgirl with a following because she's pretty. Once you have her, what's she going to do? Will her followers really fight for her? True. Listening to his friends, he smirked. If Su Xiaoming were that easy, he'd have had her already. The Su family wasn't to be trifled with. Chapter 24, I'll help you woo my sister. The phone rang, and Xiaochen answered it. Hello, Su Cheng, are you finished with work? Hearing her sister's call, Su Xiaoming perked up her ears, eager to listen in. Not yet. Are you and Xiaoming at home? Su Qing's voice sounded a bit weary. No, we're. Xiaochen began, but seeing Su Xiaoming waving her hand, he changed his words. We're out for dinner, we'll head home after. Hearing this, Su Xiaoming visibly relaxed. If her sister knew they were out racing, she would certainly be upset. Alright, just be safe. I received another email just now. Xiaochen frowned and asked sullenly, what did it say? Another threat, saying they'll deal with me within a week. A week? Then we'll be waiting. Xiaochen sneered. He feared not the enemy's moves, but their silence. The unknown enemy lurking in the shadows was the most terrifying, so Xiaochen was eager for them to make a move soon. When the time comes, we'll see who has the upper hand, he thought. Alright, we'll discuss it in person. I need to get back to work. Okay. Xiaochen nodded and hung up, squinting slightly. Were they finally going to make a move? What did my sister say? Su Xiaoming couldn't help but ask after Xiaochen ended the call. Oh, nothing much, just checking what we're up to. Really? Su Xiaoming eyed Xiaochen suspiciously. Of course, why would I lie? Xiaochen chuckled. I even told her we're out for dinner. So, what do you want to eat tonight? It's on me. I want seafood. Sure, seafood it is. Xiaochen nodded. After dinner, we'll pick up your sister from work. Remember, don't slip up and mention the racing. Su Xiaoming pouted. Do you think I'm stupid? I won't say a word. Alright then, it'll be our little secret and I won't tell your sister about your early romance either. Who's in an early romance? Su Xiaoming almost jumped up. I haven't even started dating. Didn't he like you? That's a kind of early romance. Just liking me counts as early romance? Yes. Then by that logic, I've been in early romances since kindergarten. Su Xiaoming retorted. Hey, Xiaoming, can we not brag like that? It's true. I've been naturally beautiful since I was little, boys have always liked me. Alright, you're beloved by all, even flowers bloom at your presence, okay? Xiao Chen laughed helplessly. This girl was too narcissistic. Free from Yinhe's pestering, Su Xiaoming was in high spirits and more amiable towards Xiao Chen, especially since she had an ulterior motive. Being hostile wouldn't work in her favor. Their conversation drifted back to racing. Xiao Chen, can you teach me to drive? Su Xiaoming finally voiced her intention. No. To her surprise, Xiao Chen refused outright. Why not? Little girls shouldn't drive, it's too dangerous. Who says girls can't drive? Su Xiaoming protested. That's gender discrimination. Alright, let's not make it about that. I don't discriminate. Xiao Chen quickly said. Then teach me, please? I'll even call you Brother Chen, and I won't chase you away anymore. Xiao Chen shook his head. You should call me Brother Chen anyway. I won the race and helped you with Yinhe. As for chasing me away, do you think you could? Su Xiaoming was fuming, though it was true. But there was no need to spell it out. What a bully. But thinking of Xiao Chen's superb driving skills, she swallowed her anger and forced a smile. Brother Chen, if you teach me, we'll get along well. How about it? Not interested. Are you here for my sister? Teach me, and I'll help you win her over deal? Su Xiaoming's words were shocking. Screech. Xiao Chen slammed on the brakes, the car jolting, almost hitting the curb. What did you say? I said, teach me to drive, and I'll help you woo my sister. Seeing Xiao Chen's reaction, Su Xiaoming smirked inwardly. This bastard had ulterior motives after all. Once she learned, she'd make him scram. Cough, Xiaoming, I swear, I have no designs on your sister. I came to Longhai purely because. Xiao Chen suddenly stopped. Some things couldn't be disclosed to Su Xiaoming. He grew wary. This girl almost tricked him. He needed to be careful. Because of what? What are you and my sister hiding from me? Su Xiaoming pressed on, eyes fixed on Xiao Chen. No reason. I got discharged from the military, no job, so your brother sent me here to protect you and your sister, and to find a job. You're lying. I'm not, it's the truth. I may be small, but I'm not a child. Last chance, why are you here? If you don't tell me, I'll ask my sister. Xiao Chen was struck by her first statement, about to joke, but her serious expression made him swallow his words. This wouldn't be easy. Will you speak? Xiao Chen was silent for a few seconds, then repeated what he told Su Qing before. Half a month ago, your sister called your brother, saying she had trouble and needed help. Trouble? Su Xiaoming frowned. Could it be them? Xiao Chen was surprised. Who are they? What do you know? The Su family. Su Xiaoming's eyes turned cold. If my sister has trouble, the biggest source must be the Su family. The Su family? Xiao Chen repeated, then realization dawned. Longhai Su family? You've heard of them? The Su family? Xiao Chen asked, astonished. In Longhai, there's only one Su family. Xiao Chen's eyes widened. You are from the Longhai Su family? We were, not anymore. Su Xiaoming's face turned frosty. We are us, and the Su family is the Su family. Chapter 25, Sibling Strife. Hearing Su Xiaoming's words, Xiao Chen's heart stirred. Had they already severed ties with the Su family? There must have been some upheaval, otherwise, Su Xiaoming wouldn't react this way when mentioning the Su family. Family feuds among the wealthy? Or something else entirely? Regardless of what happened, Xiao Chen was determined to protect the Su sisters. Anyone who dared harm them would face his wrath, divine or demonic. He would annihilate them. He pondered the threatening letters and the bug they had found. Were these related to the Su family? Or was Su Qing aware of something she wasn't telling him? Just as he was about to inquire further, Su Xiaoming spoke coldly again. Su Yunfei really is heartless. My sister's in trouble, and he doesn't come back? Xiao Chen frowned slightly. Xiaoming, you shouldn't speak of your brother like that. He wanted to return, But the military had tasks for him. A soldier's duty is to protect the nation. He had no choice. Protect the nation? He can't even protect his own sister. Isn't that laughable? Su Xiaoming sneered. Xiaoming, a soldier's duty is to follow orders. You've heard that before, right? Even though he couldn't come back, he still worried about you and your sister's safety, so he sent me. If he truly cared, he should have left the military and come back. He shouldn't have joined the army when my sister and I needed him the most. Su Xiaoming's eyes reddened, her emotions growing intense. Xiao Chen remained silent for a few seconds, realizing why Su Xiaoming resented her brother so much. But this little girl didn't know that her brother was dead and would never return. No matter how great the fault, death should absolve it, right? He wanted to reveal this truth but hesitated, it was too cruel. He shook his head. Better to first find a way to resolve this girl's emotional knots. Besides, whenever old Su mentioned her, he sounded remorseful, saying he wasn't a good brother. Perhaps, this was also a burden on old Su. If Xiao Chen could help resolve this, old Su might find peace in the afterlife. Thinking this, Xiao Chen sighed. This stubborn girl would be difficult to handle unless she knew her brother had passed away. This would be a long, arduous task. Alright, Xiaoming, let's not talk about your brother. Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaoming's stubborn, reddened eyes with some pity and changed the subject. The trouble your sister is facing might not even be from the Su family. Someone has been sending her threatening letters. Threatening letters? Su Xiaoming's expression changed. Who? We don't know yet. Your sister mentioned in the call that she received another threatening email just now. And the bug in the house, was that their doing? Su Xiaoming asked, piecing things together quickly. Xiao Chen praised her silently despite her playful nature. She was sharp, immediately connecting the dots. Not necessarily. The enemy is hidden, and it's hard to trace them. If it's them, fine. If not, it means your sister has multiple enemies. Su Xiaoming's face grew more troubled. Who was after her sister? The Su family? Or another hidden enemy? Xiaoming, do you think it's the Su family? Xiao Chen asked after a moment's thought. Unlikely. If the Su family wanted trouble, they'd do it openly. They wouldn't resort to underhanded tactics, they disdain such methods. Xiao Chen nodded. He wanted to ask why they left the Su family, but held back. He'd find another opportunity to ask Su Qing. Su Xiaoming fell silent, her lips pressed together, staring out the window. The car was quiet. 10 minutes later, the Maserati stopped in front of a seafood restaurant. Xiaoming, don't worry. As long as I'm here, nothing will happen. Xiao Chen got out, opened the car door for her, and smiled. Su Xiaoming looked at Xiao Chen's smiling face and felt a slight tremor in her heart for the first time. She found him not so annoying, even a little touched. Hee, get out. I'm treating today, so don't be shy. Order whatever you like. Xiao Chen said generously. Really? Then I want a 5-pound Australian lobster and king crab, Su Xiaoming teased. Sure, as long as they have it, we'll eat it. They entered the restaurant. To dine more comfortably, Xiao Chen requested a private room. Then he called to the waiter, do you have a 5-pound Australian lobster? Only wild-caught, no farm-raised substitutes. Sir, we don't have 5-pounders. Xiaoming, would a smaller one be okay? Xiao Chen asked her. I was just kidding. Let's just eat something simple. Su Xiaoming shook her head, not really in the mood for food. Sir, we have 3-pound wild Australian lobsters, flown in, the waiter said quickly. Alright, bring the 3-pounder. And king crab too. Xiao Chen ordered 6 or 7 types of seafood before letting the waiter go. Soon, the seafood arrived. Su Xiaoming wanted beer, but Xiao Chen stopped her, knowing she was upset. Xiaoming, we need to pick up your sister later. If she smells alcohol on you, she won't be happy. Su Xiaoming nodded and didn't insist on the beer. She focused on eating the lobster, though it tasted bland to her now. She kept thinking about how to help her sister. Xiaoming, your sister didn't tell you because she didn't want you to worry. So don't stress about these things. If you really want to make her happy, stop deliberately scoring 60 in your exams next time. Xiao Chen said while eating a king crab leg. Su Xiaoming froze, looking up at Xiao Chen. How do you know? Your sister mentioned it. In my view, consistently scoring 60 is harder than getting perfect scores. So my sister knows too? Su Xiaoming asked anxiously. Yes. Comma. Hee, your sister isn't stupid. You can't hide it forever, she'll figure it out sooner or later. Xiaochen smiled at her pained expression. But I'm curious, everyone strives to be a top student. Why does a top student like you deliberately act like a poor one? Su Xiaoming opened her mouth, sighed, and said, it's complicated. Suffice it to say, it's beyond my control. Comma. Xiao Chen was speechless. A kid talking about life's complexities? Chapter 26, Small Chest, No Interest. With Xiao Chen's deliberate guidance, Su Xiaoming's mood improved significantly, and the atmosphere in the private room became more pleasant, punctuated with laughter. After dinner, Xiao Chen paid the bill with his card, and they drove to the company. Xiao Chen, can you really protect my sister and ensure she doesn't get hurt? Su Xiaoming suddenly turned to Xiao Chen as they neared the company, her expression serious. Yes, Xiao Chen nodded. I promised your brother I would take care of both of you. Then, for now, I won't insist on you leaving, Su Xiaoming said earnestly. Really? That's a relief. Always being on guard is exhausting, Xiao Chen chuckled, though a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Once he resolved Su Qing's troubles, he would leave of his own accord. He had other matters to attend to, namely revenge. But let me warn you, don't get any ideas about my sister, or I won't let you off. I won't. And definitely don't get any ideas about me. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes, glancing at Su Xiaoming's chest with a smirk. I must emphasize, I'm not interested in girls with small chests. What did you say? Su Xiaoming glared at Xiao Chen, infuriated by his constant salt in her wound. Nothing, I said you're young and cute. By the way, don't let this slip when we see your sister, okay? Xiao Chen quickly shook his head, changing the subject while silently noting that mentioning her small chest was touching a nerve and best avoided. Since you complimented me, I'll let it slide this time. Just make sure you don't let anything slip. If my sister finds out about our racing, we're both in trouble. As they spoke, the Maserati pulled into the company, parking beneath the office building. They got out of the car, took the elevator upstairs, and met Su Qing in the office. Xiaoming, why are you here too? Su Qing, still in her lab coat, smiled at her younger sister. Sis. Seeing the weariness on her sister's face, Su Xiaoming's heart ached, and her eyes reddened. Xiaoming, what's wrong? Su Qing, alarmed by her sister's tears, quickly approached. Did something happen? Who made you upset or bullied you? Su Xiaoming shook her head, holding back her tears. Nothing, sis. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? About being threatened. Huh? Su Qing looked at Xiao Chen, frowning. Did you tell her? Xiao Chen shrugged helplessly. It slipped during dinner. Besides, I thought it better she knew. Xiaoming, it's okay, don't cry, I'll protect you and won't let anyone hurt you. Su Qing glared at Xiao Chen, then hugged her sister, comforting her gently. Sis, why didn't you tell me? I didn't want you to worry, and it's not a big deal. I'll handle it. Sis, I want to help. I don't want you to be in danger. Silly girl, how can you help? Don't worry, with Xiao Chen around, I'll be fine. Su Qing comforted her sister, sighing inwardly. It's not that she was keeping too much from her sister, but she felt Xiaoming was too young to bear such burdens. Whatever storm comes, let me face it alone. Watching the sisters embrace, Xiao Chen smiled wistfully and quietly left the office, giving them their space. Leaving the office, Xiao Chen headed downstairs to the security department. Minister Xiao. The security guards on duty greeted Xiao Chen respectfully. Evening, Xiao Chen nodded. Any issues tonight? None. Xiao Chen took out a pack of cigarettes and handed them out. Everyone, stay vigilant tonight. Yes, sir. As they chatted, Ding Li walked in. Brother Chen, here to pick up President Su? Yes. Why are you still here? It's not your shift tonight, is it? Xiao Chen was surprised to see Ding Li. The security department's been short-staffed lately, so I stayed back, Ding Li said shyly. Setting an example now that you're in charge, huh? Xiao Chen laughed, tossing Ding Li a cigarette. Ding Li took it, grinning as he lit it up and took a satisfying drag. Come, accompany me to the surveillance room. Sure. They left the security office and went to the surveillance room, where live feeds from various cameras played on the screens. Brother Chen, what are you looking at? Seeing Xiao Chen silently watching the screens, Dingley couldn't help but ask. I'm observing the blind spots and the rotation frequency of these cameras. Really? You can tell that? Of course. Xiao Chen nodded, thoughtfully. There are several blind spots in the company, completely out of the camera's range. Combining this with the rotation frequency, there are at least 5 routes one could take to avoid surveillance and reach the office, even the president's office. Brother Chen, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Dingley scratched his head. Dingley, who set the rotation frequency for these cameras? I think it was Supervisor Lu. Lu Dakue? Yes. Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes but said nothing more. Brother Chen, is something wrong? Nothing. Let's go. Xiao Chen shook his head, standing up. Keep a close eye on things here. The Flying Eagle gang has been quiet all day. They might make a move tonight. Dingley's face turned pale. The Flying Eagle gang might retaliate tonight? Who knows? Better safe than sorry. If anything unusual happens, call me or the police. Always good to have law enforcement involved. Oh, got it. Dingley nodded nervously. All right, go back to the security room and rest. I think President Su's wrapping up. I'll go check. Okay. Xiao Chen returned to the president's office to find the sisters chatting, their moods evidently lifted. Xiao Chen, where did you go? Su Qing asked. Checked the security department and the surveillance room. Is something wrong? No, nothing. Are you done? Yes, let's head home. All right. Chapter 27, The Taste of the Past. Morning light streamed through the window as Xiao Chen opened his eyes. Recalling the sisterly bond between Su Qing and Su Xiaoming the previous night, a tender smile crept onto his face. Lingering in bed for a while, he finally got up to wash and headed to the living room. Usually by this time, Su Qing would be preparing breakfast, but today the kitchen was unusually silent. Xiao Chen glanced upstairs, smiled, and walked into the kitchen. He opened the fridge, took out some ingredients, and began making breakfast. Just as he was nearly done, he heard footsteps. Su Qing, clad in her pajamas, appeared at the kitchen door. Seeing Xiao Chen in an apron, frying eggs, she was taken aback. Xiao Chen, why are you? Good morning, Xiao Chen greeted with a smile, lifting a perfectly fried egg from the pan onto a plate. I noticed you weren't up yet, so I thought I'd help with breakfast. Last night, I chatted with Xiaoming until past 2. That's why I overslept, Su Qing explained as she entered the kitchen. Let me take over. No need, it's almost ready. You go wake up Xiaoming, Xiao Chen replied, cracking another egg into the pan. Su Qing watched his deft movements and the gentle smile on his face, momentarily lost in thought. Her brother used to make breakfast for them just like this, sharing the same warmth and care. Su Qing, what's on your mind? Xiao Chen asked, noticing her staring. Oh, nothing, Su Qing shook her head, her tone heavy. I was just thinking about my brother. He used to make eggs for Xiaoming and me. Xiao Chen, do you think he'll be safe on his mission? When will he be back? Xiao Chen paused, forcing a smile. Don't worry. Your brother is a top soldier, and he's not alone. He'll be fine. Okay, Su Qing nodded, but she couldn't shake the uneasy feeling about her brother. Go wake Xiaoming now. Breakfast is almost done, Xiao Chen urged, worried Su Qing might probe further. And I promise, my fried eggs are just as good as your brother's. Su Qing nodded again, glanced at the frying pan, and left the kitchen. A few minutes later, Xiao Chen set the breakfast on the table just as Su Qing returned, dragging a sleepy Su Xiaoming along. The sight of the golden eggs revived Su Xiaoming's appetite. She rushed to the table, grabbing a fried egg. Mmm. This is delicious. Perfectly cooked, she exclaimed, her eyes lighting up as the golden yolk oozed out. Wow, sis, how did you manage this? It's perfectly cooked. So tasty. Su Qing also looked surprised. Perfectly cooked? She glanced at Xiao Chen, who smiled back. Su Qing, try yours. It's cooked just the way you like it. Su Qing took a bite, her body jolting slightly. It was just like the ones her brother used to make. Beside her, Su Xiaoming's eyes dimmed as she looked at her egg. She hadn't tasted something like this in years. What's wrong? Xiao Chen asked, puzzled by their reactions. It's just that. The taste is exactly like our brother's cooking, Su Qing explained. Xiao Chen sighed inwardly. He had hoped to avoid bringing up their brother, but his cooking had evoked those memories. Su Xiaoming looked up. How did you know I like my eggs this way? Xiao Chen chuckled. Your brother mentioned it when we talked. He told me about your preferences. Your favorite color, your love for 7-minute eggs. Tears welled up in Su Xiaoming's eyes. Stop it. Xiao Chen nodded, stopping. Su Qing comforted her sister. Xiaoming, please don't be mad at our brother anymore. He had his reasons for leaving, Su Qing pleaded. No matter his reasons, he shouldn't have left us, Su Xiaoming retorted, throwing down her chopsticks and storming upstairs. Xiao Chen stared at the half-eaten egg, feeling helpless. Did I do something wrong? It's not your fault. I know Xiaoming misses our brother too. She just won't admit it, Su Qing sighed. Anyway, the eggs were delicious. They finished breakfast in silence. Afterward, Su Qing went to change while Xiao Chen cleaned up. Wait. Su Xiaoming called from the stairs as Xiao Chen was about to throw away her leftover egg. What's up? He asked. Don't waste such delicious food, she said, grabbing the egg and finishing it. Xiao Chen smiled. If you like it, I can make it for you every day. Su Xiaoming hesitated, then asked, really? Of course. Promise. She held out her pinky finger. Laughing, Xiao Chen linked his pinky with hers. Soon, Su Qing came downstairs, and they left the house together, dropping Su Xiaoming off at school before heading to the office. Thank you, Xiao Chen, Su Qing said, watching her sister disappear into the school. For what? For last night. Xiaoming and I had a good talk, and she promised to do well on her exams. She'll be fine. She's got a good head on her shoulders. They arrived at the company, and Xiao Chen did a quick round before returning to his office. Barely seated, a knock came at the door. Come in. Tong Yen entered, holding a folder. Minister Xiao. Morning, Tong Yen, Xiao Chen greeted, noting how stunning she looked today. I wanted to apologize for last night. I didn't expect. It's fine. Sit down, Xiao Chen reassured her, smiling. My mother. She. Tong Yen blushed, remembering her mother's embarrassing advice, and quickly changed the subject, handing over the folder. Here's the proposal for the recruitment drive. Xiao Chen reviewed it briefly. Looks good. Send it out. All right. Make sure to use multiple channels. We might find some hidden gems. Got it. Tong Yen stood, bowing slightly. I'll get to it. Xiao Chen watched her leave, lamenting the lack of a view today. He then turned to his computer, filling the rest of the morning with games. Near noon, Ding Li knocked on the door. Morning, bro. Time for lunch. Where to? Xiao Chen asked, shutting down his game. I'm starving. The company cafeteria. Haven't you been there yet? No. Is the food good? The best in Longhai. And the best part? The scenery. What scenery? All the company beauties come out for lunch, Ding Li whispered. Xiao Chen smirked. You're learning, kid. Let's go. Ding Li was taken aback by Xiao Chen's audacity but followed him to the cafeteria. It was bustling with employees, and indeed, many attractive women were among them. As they found a table, Xiao Chen looked around, taking in the vibrant atmosphere. See? Told you, Ding Li said with a grin. Xiao Chen nodded. Good call. Let's eat. As they ate, Xiao Chen couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. Despite the underlying tensions and threats, moments like these simple, everyday interactions gave him a reason to smile. Chapter 28, My name is Li Hanho. After finishing their meal, Xiao Chen strolled out of the dining hall, toothpick dangling from his mouth. Brother Chen, how was it? I didn't deceive you, did I? Our company's beauties are top-notch. Ding Li trailed behind like a lackey. It's just so. Xiao Chen's face was full of discerning scrutiny. I have high standards, after all, surrounded by top-tier beauties, you understand. Hearing this, Dingley secretly sneered. Who nearly drooled into the plates just now? One moment praising one woman's ample bosom and slender waist, the next complimenting another's firm buttocks and toned thighs. He was almost popping his eyeballs out. What? Do you think I'm boasting? Tell me, is Sue General top tier? Xiao Qin turned his head, questioning top tier. Thinking of Su Qin, Dingley nodded vigorously. Assistant Qin, top tier? Top tier. Dingley nodded again. Although Assistant Qin wasn't as beautiful as Su General, she was much more attractive than the average woman, especially her figure, her demeanor. Absolutely top tier. Su General's sister, Su Xiaomeng, top tier? Top tier. The HR department's Tongyan, top tier? Dingley's mind conjured the image of Tongyan's youthful and pretty face along with her ample chest. He couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Top tier. Damn. Don't be so lascivious, can't you? She's not someone you can pine after. Xiao Chen tapped Dingley's head impatiently, saying, Yes, I understand. She's Brother Chen's preference. Dingley nodded hastily. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes. What a mess this was. All right, enough nonsense. I have a task for you. Brother Chen, what task? Dingley's expression became serious as he asked. Xiao Chen looked around, then draped his arm around Dingley's shoulder, whispering for a while. What? Dingley's eyes widened after hearing, wondering what this was all about. Remember what I said last night in the monitoring room? Yes, I remember, about blind spots and rotation trajectories. Yes. Xiao Chen nodded. First, go find an electronics store and buy the equipment. But, Brother Chen, I don't know how to install it. Damn it, you don't know? Can't you find a technician? Remember, do this at night, don't attract attention. Oh. Dingley nodded, unable to help asking, Brother Chen, what are you going to do? Xiao Chen smirked. Fishing. Fishing? Dingley was even more puzzled, looking around. There's no pond in the company, where would they fish? Yes, don't ask too much. Just follow my instructions. Xiao Chen patted Dingley's shoulder. Once this is done, it'll be a big achievement. Okay, whatever Brother Chen says, I'll do it as long as Brother Chen won't harm me. Dingley said earnestly. Xiao Chen smiled, took out a cigarette, and tossed one to Dingley. Well, once you've bought the equipment, I'll give you the blueprint. When the time comes, we'll install it. Got it. Hurry up, don't take too long. I know, I'll handle it this afternoon. Xiao Chen nodded, pulling out a card. There's 100,000 in here, the password is 123123. Go buy the equipment. Dingley took it. Rest assured, Brother Chen, I'll handle it. Off you go. Dingley held the card, turned, and left. Xiao Chen watched Dingley's figure depart, squinting his eyes. This was something he thought of last night. If the bugs were discovered, the other party would definitely be suspicious. Would they take further action? So, he wanted to make some preparations in advance. If the person who installed the bug and the one sending threatening letters weren't the same, the former posed a greater threat than the latter. Besides the company, he also planned to make arrangements at the villa, to prevent any loopholes being exploited. Pa Xiao Chen spat out the toothpick, strolling around the company before returning to his office and opening his computer game. As time passed, while Xiao Chen was immersed in defeating bosses, a security guard rushed in anxiously from outside. Xiao, Minister Xiao, something's wrong. Why are you yelling? What's wrong with me? Xiao Chen raised his head, impatiently. No, there's trouble. What's happened? Xiao Chen frowned, suddenly standing up. Is the Flying Eagle gang seeking revenge? No, it's not. Damn it, what's going on then? Xiao Chen was furious, nearly grabbing the ashtray on the table to smash someone's head with it. Somebody broke in. What? Broke in? Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen didn't ask further, quickly rushing outside even before he reached the company's entrance. A furious voice could be heard. Who are you to stop me? If you dare stop me again, I won't be polite. Stop him, don't let him in. Minister Xiao will be here soon. Another voice rang out. I want to see your leaders. You clearly said you were hiring, and now that I'm here, you don't want me? Are you kidding me? Get out of my way. Brothers, stop him. Bang! 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 Following these dull thuds, several security guards were sent flying backward from the entrance, crashing heavily onto the ground, groaning in pain. Humph, do you think you can stop me? If you stop me again, I'll hit you. A tall and burly young man swaggered in from outside, clenching his fist the size of a bull, his face fierce as he yelled at the guards on the ground. Even Xiao Chun, upon seeing him, couldn't help but shrink back, thinking, where did this guy come from? He's like a whole upright brown bear. Stop him, don't let him break in, otherwise, we'll all be fired. A security guard climbed up from the ground, gritting his teeth and shouting. The other guards also painfully got up, blocking the young man's path. You're still blocking me. Alright, then I'll hit you. The young man grew angry, grabbing a security guard by the collar, preparing to throw him out again. Stop. Xiao Chen timely spoke up, hastening his pace to the entrance. Minister Xiao. The security guards breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing Xiao Chun, all respectfully greeting him. Xiao Chen nodded, then looked up at the towering figure, let him go. What's the matter? Tell me. Are you their leader? The young man asked in a deep voice. Yes, I'm their leader, also the head of the security department. The young man stared at Xiao Chun for a moment, then dropped the security guard in his hand onto the ground, nodding. Alright, then I'll talk to you. What do you want to talk about? I want to work here as a security guard. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chun chuckled. This guy broke in just to apply for a security job? Why are you laughing? Are you making fun of me? No, what's your name? Xiao Chen asked with a smile. I'm Li Han Ho. My mom and folks in the village call me Big Fool. The young man scratched his head. Hearing this name, not only Xiao Chen but also the other guards looked strange. Li Han Ho? Big Fool? This guy really does seem a bit foolish. Big Fool, who told you we're hiring security guards? Dr. Hua told me. She said to come and try. Li Han Ho grinned. My mom said, anyone who calls me Big Fool is a friend, so I regard you as my friend. Xiao Chen smiled. Alright, we're friends. What skills do you have? I can hunt. Xiao Chen was speechless. Big Fool, this is a company, we don't need hunters. Then I can guard the door. I won't let anyone break into the company. What if someone wants to break in? Then I'll beat them. Li Han Ho raised his fist. Anyone who enters, I'll beat them. Hee, they stopped you just now, didn't they? Li Han Ho tilted his head, pondering, then nodded. Yes, but I want to see the leader. I want to work here as a security guard. The guards, who had been angry and resentful, now couldn't help but laugh. This guy was so cute in his foolishness. Why do you want to be a security guard? Because Dr. Hua said your pay is high. All right. Xiao Chen nodded helplessly. We do hire security guards, but not now, maybe the day after tomorrow. Leader, you said we're friends, can't you let me stay? Li Han Ho became a little anxious. Xiao Chen couldn't help but laugh. Who said this kid lacked intelligence? He just set himself up. I can let you stay, but you broke into the company and fought them. We need an explanation, right? Li Han Ho looked at the guards, squatting down and holding his head. Then let them beat me up, as long as they don't hit my face, or my mom will be angry. The guards watched his actions, all smiling. This guy was so cute in his foolishness. I won't let them beat you. If you can beat me, I'll let you be a security guard. How about that? Xiao Chen's gaze fell on Li Han Ho's calloused fist, his heart moved, and he said. Are you serious? You're not lying to me? I'm serious, not lying to you. Xiao Chen nodded, pointing to the guards. They can testify. Great. Li Han Ho excitedly clenched his fist, but soon his face turned bitter. But what if I injure you? I don't have money to compensate you. Xiao Chen smiled. If you injure me, you don't have to compensate me. Okay, then take my punch. After saying that, Li Hanho roared, his whole body exploding with muscular tension, throwing a punch at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen watched the incoming fist without dodging, also throwing a punch back, meeting it head-on. Bang! The two fists collided, emitting a dull sound. Xiao Chen only felt a tingling sensation in his fist, taking a step back, dispersing the force from Li Hanho's fist. He was surprised. This guy had such great strength. Li Hanho also took a step back. Originally stolid and foolish-looking, excitement flashed across his face. He roared like a wild beast, then threw another punch. This time, Xiao Chen didn't meet Li Hanho's fist head-on. Instead, he dodged to the side, kicking lightning fast with his right leg, aiming at Li Hanho's elbow. Bang! To Xiao Chen's surprise, Li Hanho's reaction was not slow at all. While his right fist didn't slow down, his left hand slapped Xiao Chen's right foot, simultaneously grabbing his ankle. Chapter 29, The Robust Brute. Arise! Li Hanho firmly grasped Xiao Chen's ankle, bellowing loudly, as his left hand exerted force, attempting to hurl him away. Xiao Chen's body, though diminutive, surged with energy. With a sudden shake of his left foot, he dislodged Li Hanho's grip, delivering a swift close-range punch. Li Hanho's left hand tingled with numbness, yet he showed no signs of retreat. His fist swung out, in a wild and unrestrained manner, akin to a raging wild bear. Bang! 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 The punches from both sides were forceful, continually colliding, as they engaged in a rhythmic exchange, resonating with a deep, muffled sound. Beside them, the security guards were dumbfounded. How could this simpleton be so formidable? Simultaneously, they silently rejoiced that Minister Xiao arrived just in time, otherwise, escaping today's beating would have been impossible. Crush and annihilate. Suddenly, Li Hanho roared, his massive figure leaping up abruptly. Clenching his fists tightly, like a taut bowstring, he descended upon Xiao Chen with the force of thunder. Excellent timing. Xiao Chen's shoulder swayed, the momentum of his punch suddenly shifting from aggressive to subtle, as he gently pressed his right palm against Li Hanho's fist, employing softness to overcome strength. Adhere to the mountain. Li Hanho veered past, his shoulder forcefully thrusting towards Xiao Chen, bearing the weight and power akin to a human tank, exuding an aura of overwhelming dominance. Xiao Chen raised an eyebrow, swiftly retreating. Even he, proficient in the art of the eight extremities fist, was unwilling to confront such an immensely powerful humanoid beast head-on. Facing such brute force, confrontation would only lead to disadvantage. However, as he retreated, his right leg arced in a half-circle, striking towards Li Hanho's leg. The latter staggered, almost falling to the ground. Satisfying. Come again. Despite suffering a minor setback, Li Hanho not only refrained from retreating but his fighting spirit soared during his days in Longhai. He had nowhere to practice boxing, one could say he was stifled. Now, encountering such an opponent, how could he not be excited? How could he not engage in a satisfying battle? Very well, bring it on. Xiao Chen also became increasingly enthralled with the fight, emanating a rich aura of battle, akin to a war god descending to earth. Opening the mountain cannon. Li Hanho's arms straightened, striding towards Xiao Chen with large steps, unleashing powerful strikes. His arms, resembling steel whips, carried with them a fierce gust of wind, thundering down. Isn't this the splitting and hanging fist? Suddenly, a security guard, having practiced a few moves, couldn't help but exclaim upon witnessing Li Hanho's movements. Splitting and hanging fist? What is that? Curious, another security guard inquired. The splitting and hanging fist emphasizes inch-by-inch strength. It's one of the most robust and fierce boxing styles in China. Haven't you heard this saying, combining the eight extremities with the splitting and hanging, even gods and demons tremble? The previous guard stared at Li Hanho, who was facing off against Xiao Chen. If I'm not mistaken, this guy is practicing the eight extremities fist and the splitting and hanging fist. I've heard that saying. I heard those who practice these two styles are very formidable. Damn, this big fool looks so clueless, yet he's so powerful? The security guards collectively gasped in astonishment. Descending dragon and subduing tiger. At that moment, Li Hanho roared once more, closing the distance between himself and Xiao Chen. Though his attack remained fierce, his techniques displayed variation. That's right, it's the descending dragon and subduing tiger from the eight extremities fist, also known as the Mei skyward thrust and the six harmonies downward push. A security guard's eyelids twitched, as he remarked slowly, in culture, there's Tai Chi to stabilize the world, in martial arts, there's the eight extremities to establish order. Minister Xiao, you're in for it. What? Minister Xiao can't beat this big fool? Don't keep calling him a big fool. If he hears you, he might beat you until you don't recognize your own mother. A guard glanced at his companion, offering a reminder. The companion opened his mouth as if to say something but, seeing the ferocious Li Hanho, swallowed his words. It's better not to provoke this big fool, he's too terrifying. Boom! Xiao Chen braced himself, receiving Li Hanho's punch head-on. His body staggered backward several steps, while his arms tingled with numbness. He couldn't help but inwardly lament, damn, this kid's strength is unbelievable. Overlord hard press rain. Li Hanho's onslaught was relentless, like a surging flood, one move after another coupled with his colossal figure, his attacks were especially impactful. Darn it, isn't it over yet? It should be ending. Xiao Chen slightly crouched, his momentum shifting once more. If he seemed like a drawn sword before, now he transformed into a seemingly harmless blunt blade, embodying the adage, a heavy sword without a sharp edge, great skill not apparent. Thud, thud. The two sides clashed once more. Just when everyone thought Xiao Chen was being overwhelmed by Li Hanho and falling into a disadvantageous position, a light shout was heard, followed by a muffled sound, as a massive figure was sent flying backwards. Thud. The figure crashed heavily onto the ground, rolling several times before coming to a stop. The security guards were astonished. Minister Xiao lost? They focused their gaze, widening their eyes in disbelief. It wasn't the relatively slender Xiao Chen who flew out, but rather Li Hanho, possessed of the physique of a brown bear. Li Hanho lay half reclined on the ground, his expression somewhat dazed. He seemed taken aback by being sent flying. How was this possible? You see, when he was hunting in the woods, he encountered black bears and managed to kill both a big and a small one using just his fists. In a direct confrontation, his strength was no less than that of a black bear. But now, he had been defeated, directly blasted out, which, in his view, was utterly unacceptable. Looking at Xiao Chen, his complexion turned somewhat pale, even a hint of pain flashed across his face. His dantian felt pricked as if by steel needles. However, he quickly regained his composure, stepping forward slowly, smiling as he said, Big Han, you've lost. How can your strength be greater than mine? Li Hanho climbed up from the ground, showing no signs of injury. Firstly, Xiao Chen controlled his force, and secondly, he used to practice boxing and hit trees in the woods every day, so he had tough skin and thick flesh. Hee, what's so strange about that? I've lost. I'm leaving. Li Hanho thought of something, feeling somewhat crestfallen. Scratching his head, he turned to leave. Wait. What do you want me to do? Li Hanho halted, turning to look at Xiao Chen. Hee, you've been recruited. From now on, you're a security guard for the company. Xiao Chen said with a smile. Li Hanho was momentarily stunned, then overjoyed. Really? Of course. That's great, thank you. Li Hanho was very happy, as delighted as a child, almost jumping for joy. Xiao Chen also smiled, a hint of appreciation flashing across his face. Although they had just met, he kind of liked this big guy. Big Han, go apologize to them. From now on, you'll be colleagues. You should get along well, understand? Xiao Chen glanced at the security guards beside him, saying to Li Hanho. Oh. Li Hanho nodded, running up to the security guards, bending over, his face full of a simple and honest smile. I was wrong just now. I shouldn't have resorted to violence. How about this, you can beat me up too, I won't fight back. The security guards looked at Li Hanho and all laughed. Who would bother with him? Alright, since everyone has forgiven you, let's forget about it. Come, let's go to the office and chat. Xiao Chen smiled and said. Oh. Li Hanho nodded. Xiao Chen took out a cigarette and tossed it to the security guards. You guys continue your duty. I'll take Big Han in. Yes. Let's go. Just as Xiao Chen took a few steps, he suddenly heard a loud rumbling sound, like distant thunder. What's that sound? Xiao Chen stopped in his tracks, voicing his confusion. Leader, it's my stomach rumbling. Li Hanho said somewhat embarrassedly. Xiao Chen was speechless, looking at Li Hanho's stomach. Hungry? I haven't eaten for 2 days. Don't worry about it, it'll stop growling later. Li Hanho shook his head, saying. Xiao Chen was dumbfounded. Why haven't you eaten? I ran out of money. Li Hanho scratched his head, opened his mouth, but then stopped. Xiao Chen sighed helplessly. No money for food? Alright, let's not go to the office first, let's go to the cafeteria. Come, I'll take you to the cafeteria to eat. Eat? Li Hanho's eyes lit up, saliva pooling in his mouth. Yes. Xiao Chen shook his head helplessly. This guy hadn't eaten for 2 days, yet he's still so energetic. If he's full, how much stronger will he be? Xiao Chen took Li Hanho to the cafeteria and had the chef serve him several dishes. Dig Han, dig in. Alright. Li Hanho picked up his chopsticks, grabbed the lion's head meatball, and was about to put it in his mouth. However, he hesitated and put it back down. Big Han, what's wrong? Don't you like it? Xiao Chen was somewhat puzzled. These meatballs were pretty tasty, he had eaten 2 at lunch. No, leader, can I save these meatballs to take home to my mother? Li Hanho looked at the meatballs on the plate, swallowing saliva, and asked. Xiao Chen's heart shook. For your mother? Yes, my mother is ill and hasn't eaten meat for several days. I want to leave these for her to eat and help her recover. Li Hanho nodded, eagerly asking, Leader, is it okay? Xiao Chen looked at Li Hanho's somewhat simple and honest face and suddenly felt a bit touched. He forced a smile. Big Han, just eat these. After you finish, I'll accompany you to see your mother and bring her something even tastier. Really? Really, eat up. Okay. Li Hanho nodded, picking up the lion's head meatball and swallowing it in one gulp. So delicious. Hee, take your time eating, there's plenty more. Li Hanho didn't bother to speak anymore, just nodded vaguely and started scooping up rice. Although Xiao Chen was prepared, he was still shocked by Li Hanho's appetite. Leaving aside how many dishes he ate 7 big bowls of rice alone. You know, he usually eats at most 2 bowls of rice. Big Han, are you full? If not, there's more inside. Xiao Chen saw the bottom of the bowl was visible and smiled, asking. Half full, can I still eat? Li Hanho scooped up a few more mouthfuls of rice. Wait here, I'll get you more rice. Xiao Chen was amazed. 7 big bowls of rice and only half full? Damn, this guy's size and strength aren't just for show. It wasn't until the 11th bowl that Li Hanho put down his chopsticks and patted his belly. So full, it's been over a month since I've eaten such a full meal. Watching Li Hanho's actions, Xiao Chen wanted to laugh, but couldn't. Big Han, tell me about yourself. Where's your mother now? 3-0. Li Hanho's story is actually quite simple. His ancestors were from Ludong, and his grandfather moved to the 3 eastern provinces and settled there until now. He was born in a remote mountain village. When he was in his teens, his grandfather and father passed away, leaving him and his mother to rely on each other. This time, his mother fell seriously ill. He heard from the villagers that medical technology in Longhai City was better, so he brought his mother to Longhai for treatment. But this young man who had never left the mountains found it difficult to adapt and survive in the bustling city. He found 2 jobs in Longhai, but neither lasted long. Treating his mother's illness also depleted all their savings, and now they still owe money to the hospital. If it weren't for the hospital fearing they couldn't find them to pay back the money, they probably would have been kicked out long ago. He now has only a little over 200 yuan left. In order to save money to buy food for his mother, he hasn't eaten for 2 days. Big Han, if you don't eat, and your body weakens, what will happen to your mother? After listening to Li Hanho's words, Xiao Chen felt moved and a little sour. Hey, I'm strong, going without food for 10 days or so is no problem for me. Li Hanho smiled innocently, scratching his head. He didn't seem to worry about himself. Xiao Chen couldn't help but shake his head. Going without food for 10 days or so? Only this kid could come up with that. Big Han, how did you know the company was recruiting security guards? It was Dr. Hua who told me. She said the salary was pretty good, so she let me give it a try. Who is Dr. Hua? Xiao Chen asked curiously. Is she the doctor treating your mother? Yes, she's very beautiful and kind-hearted. If it weren't for her, the hospital would probably have kicked us out long ago. Li Hanho's face showed gratitude when he mentioned Dr. Hua. Xiao Chen nodded. He felt somewhat relieved in this cold and concrete city. There are still some warm-hearted people. Big Han, just stick with me and work hard here. Okay, leader, as long as it's not something illegal, I'll do whatever you tell me to. Li Hanho nodded vigorously. Xiao Chen was surprised to hear him say this. Something illegal? Yes, my mother said I shouldn't do anything illegal. Well, why did she say that? Why can't you do anything illegal? Well, she didn't say why. She just said I shouldn't do it. If my mother says I can't do it, then I won't ask why. Li Hanho scratched his head, then said seriously. In his eyes, his mother's words were more effective than the decrees of ancient emperors. If his mother said so, then he wouldn't ask for reasons. Your mother is right. You shouldn't do anything illegal. Society is already chaotic enough. With your strength, don't add to the chaos. Xiao Chen laughed heartily. He wasn't exaggerating. Although they didn't fight to the death earlier, from their previous confrontation, he could tell that Li Hanho's combat power was definitely top-notch, even peak top-notch. He belonged to the rare category of experts. If such experts wanted to harm society, the impact would be terrifying. Their destructive power was simply too great. There are already many examples of this, such as the classic work First Blood. Although the protagonist was forced, it can also be seen indirectly how great the destructive power of these experts is. Once they go mad, no one, no law, no weapon can stop them. Another example in reality is the many retired Special Forces soldiers who turned to the wrong path because they couldn't integrate into society. How many shocking cases have they committed? In Xiao Chen's view, Li Hanho was much more terrifying than those retired Special Forces soldiers. With his 8 extremes and splitting hand techniques, even gods and ghosts would be afraid. This wasn't just talk. This was a human war machine, a lethal weapon. Leader. Don't call me leader anymore, call me Brother Chen. Oh, Brother Chen, I want to. Li Hanho opened his mouth, but couldn't bring himself to say it. What do you want to do? Come on, if you have something to say it like a man, alright? I want to receive my salary for the first month first. Can I? Li Hanho said somewhat nervously. When Xiao Chen heard this, he slapped his forehead. How could he forget about this? Brother Chen, I only have a little over 200. Chapter 30, My Fondness for This Woman. The tale of Li's simplicity is, in truth, quite straightforward. He hails from the eastern region of Lu and his grandfather once ventured to the 3 eastern provinces, settling there ever since. Born in a remote mountain village, Li lost both his grandfather and father when he was in his teens, leaving him solely reliant on his mother. Now, with his mother gravely ill, he heard from the villagers that the medical expertise in Longhai City was superior, prompting him to bring his mother there for treatment. However, this young man, who had never ventured beyond the mountains, found himself unable to adapt and survive in the bustling urban environment. Despite securing 2 jobs in Longhai, neither lasted long, and the expenses incurred for his mother's treatment depleted their savings, leaving them indebted to the hospital. Were it not for the hospital's fear of being unable to recover the debt, they would likely have been evicted long ago. With only a little over 200 yuan left to his name, Li has gone without food for 2 days in order to save money to buy food for his mother. Dahan, if you don't eat, weakening your body, what will become of your mother? Upon hearing Li's words, Xiao Chen was touched yet also felt a twinge of bitterness. Hey, I'm strong, going without food for 10 or 8 days is no issue, Li said with a hearty laugh, scratching his head as if not concerned for himself. Xiao Chen couldn't help but shake his head. Going without food for 10 or 8 days? Only this lad could think of such a thing. Dahan, how did you know the company was hiring security guards? It was Dr. Hua who told me. She mentioned that the salary was quite high, so I decided to give it a try. Dr. Hua? Who is she? Xiao Chen asked curiously. Yes, she's very beautiful and kind-hearted. If not for her, the hospital might have kicked us out long ago. Li spoke with gratitude when mentioning Dr. Hua. Xiao Chen nodded, feeling somewhat relieved. Dahan, stick with me here and work well, he said. Sure, as long as it's not illegal, whatever you ask of me, I'll do. Li nodded vigorously. Xiao Chen was somewhat surprised at this response. Illegal activities? Yes, my mother said, we shouldn't do anything illegal. But she didn't say why we shouldn't do illegal things. Well, she didn't, but if she said not to do it, then I won't. Li scratched his head before speaking earnestly. In his eyes, his mother's words held more weight than imperial decrees from ancient emperors. Whatever his mother said, he wouldn't question it. Your mother is right, illegal activities should be avoided. Society is already chaotic enough, you being as formidable as you are, don't add to the chaos. Xiao Chen laughed heartily, his words not exaggerated. Though they hadn't engaged in serious combat, from their previous encounters, Xiao Chen could tell that Li's combat prowess was definitely top-notch, even reaching the pinnacle of excellence, belonging to the rare category of highly skilled individuals. If such skilled individuals were to cause havoc in society, the impact would be terrifying, their destructive power was immense. There have been numerous examples of this, such as in the classic First Blood. Although the protagonist was pushed to it, it still shows the tremendous destructive power of these highly skilled individuals. Once they go rogue, no one, no law, no weapon can stop them. Moreover, in reality, many retired Special Forces personnel, unable to integrate into society, have taken the wrong path. How many shocking cases have they committed nationwide? In Xiao Chen's view, Li's terror surpasses those retired Special Forces by far. 8 extremities combined with splitting hang, even ghosts and deities would fear. This is not an exaggeration. This is a humanoid weapon of war, a lethal instrument. Leader, don't call me leader, call me Brother Chen. Oh, Brother Chen, I want. Li opened his mouth, but found himself unable to speak. What do you want to do? Come on, speak up like a man, alright? I want to receive my salary for the first month first, is that possible? Li asked nervously. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen smacked his forehead. How could he forget about this? Brother Chen, I only have a little over 200 yuan now. But rest assured, I'll definitely. Alright, stop talking. Xiao Chen stood up, patting Li's shoulder. Let's go. Brother Chen, where are we going? To the hospital to see your mother. Let's go. Oh. Li Hanho hurriedly stood up, his gaze flickering over the empty plates on the table, hesitating. Brother Chen, don't forget to bring meatballs. Xiao Chen couldn't help but chuckle. Why bring meatballs? Your mother is ill and can't eat greasy food. Let's first buy some tonics outside and then stew some herbal soups. Oh. Xiao Chen led Li Hanho out of the cafeteria and downstairs. However, he soon encountered a problem and began to worry. Li Hanho's large frame simply wouldn't fit into the Maserati sedan. How did you get here? Xiao Chen leaned against the car, asking. I ran here. Li Hanho felt a bit embarrassed. He had almost gotten stuck in the car just now. Not far? It's okay. Which hospital? Li Hanho mentioned a name, causing Xiao Chen to roll his eyes. Damn, he knew this hospital was over 30 miles away. Unable to handle it alone, Xiao Chen decided to seek help. After thinking for a moment, he dialed Qin Lan's number. Hello, Xiao Chen, why did you suddenly remember to call me? I thought you became an official and forgot about your sister. Qin Lan's voice sounded slightly reproachful. Lan, how could I forget about you? I've just been busy. Busy playing games in the office? Xiao Chen was stunned. Damn, how did she know? What's wrong? Got nothing to say now. You promised to come help me often, but I haven't seen you yet. Alright, Lan, I was wrong. Starting tomorrow, I promise to come to your office. Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it. Xiao Chen intentionally emphasized the word do. You scoundrel. Always trying to take advantage of your sister. Just talk, no courage. Hearing this, Xiao Chen got angry. What? He had the courage but not the intention? Damn, he was as bold as they come. Lan, don't provoke me. I might just come to your office right now and show you how bold I am. Then come, I really want to see how bold you are. Brother Chen, when are we leaving? Next to him, Li Hanho, seeing Xiao Chen's face flushed with excitement, couldn't help but ask. Ha? Oh, right away. I just need to borrow a car. Xiao Chen felt embarrassed, forgetting there was still this guy beside him. You have someone else with you? Yeah, Lan, let's stop chatting nonsense. Do we have an SUV in our company? Isn't President Su's SUV there? That one's a bit small. Small? What are you planning? Squeezing a pig's head in there? Qianlan asked in confusion. Cough cough. Xiao Chen glanced at Li Hanho. Not a pig, a bear. Bear? What are you up to? Alright, Lan, stop asking. Do we have a larger SUV in the company? If you need a bigger one, come to my office. Ha? Why go to your office? Lan, I just want to borrow a company car, no need for anything else, right? Qianlan was speechless. What was this guy thinking? If you want a car, come to my office. After saying this, Qianlan hung up. Xiao Chen hesitated for a moment holding the phone. Should he go? Why did Qianlan ask him to come up? Surely, she wasn't that desperate? Did he really have to offer himself just for a car? But thinking of Qianlan's mature body, he felt a bit hot. Brother Chen, are you alright? Stomach ache? Li Hanho looked at Xiao Chen's changing expression, puzzled, as if he was constipated. Ha? Nothing, wait here. I'll go get the car keys. Oh, when will you be back? It might take a few minutes, or it could be an hour or two. I'll be as quick as I can. Xiao Chen said, walking towards the office building. Li Hanho watched Xiao Chen's back, scratching his head. A few minutes? 1 or 2 hours? What did that mean? Arriving at the assistant's office, Xiao Chen knocked on the door. Inside, Qianlan's seductive voice sounded, "Come in." Lan, I'm here. Xiao Chen's face was full of mischievousness as he looked at Qianlan's chest with a lustful gaze. Here, take this. It's the key to my car. Use it. Before Xiao Chen could even sit down, Qianlan pointed to the keys on the table and said, "Huh?" Xiao Chen was dumbfounded. What about the inappropriate content? He had even mentally prepared himself to drop his pants, but he was just here to get a car key? What's wrong? Don't you need a car? Qianlan looked at Xiao Chen's strange expression and couldn't help but secretly laugh. This kid, trying to play with me, but he's still a bit too green. Yeah. So, Lan, did you call me up here just to get the car keys? Of course, do you expect me to bring them down to you? Cough cough, no need. Thanks, Lan. I'll be going then. Xiao Chen was helpless. He figured it out, this girl wasn't easy to deal with, she was like a rose with thorns. Okay, go ahead. Xiao Chen nodded in defeat, took the keys, turned around, and just as he was about to leave, he heard a triumphant chuckle behind him. This made him grit his teeth inwardly. This girl was definitely doing it on purpose. Damn it, she shouldn't feel too proud now, sooner or later, I'll conquer her. Brother Chen, you're back so soon? Li Hanho was squatting on the ground, drawing circles out of boredom. Seeing Xiao Chen return, he exclaimed with some surprise. Yeah, let's go. Xiao Chen nodded wearily. When they reached the parking lot, he pressed the button on the key in his hand. Beep beep. The sound of the car unlocking rang out. Xiao Chen followed the sound and froze. Damn, this girl's taste was indeed different, she liked big ones. Li Hanho's eyes widened, showing a hint of liking. Brother Chen, what car is this? It's so big. Hummer. This is a Hummer? Yeah, get in. Xiao Chen nodded, opened the car door, and sat inside. A scent similar to Qianlan's wafted over, not elegant but not too strong, quite pleasant. Li Hanho sat in the passenger seat, sniffing. Brother Chen, why does this car smell like a woman? This car was borrowed from a woman. Ha? Li Hanho's mouth hung open for a while before he squeezed out a few words. I like this woman.